Welcome to a quick tech walkthrough using Google Slides to make a newspaper. First, go to UG Cloud and open your drive. Next, select a new Google Slides. From there, it's always good to title this so you don't lose it. So we're going to title this Newspaper Template. From there, just close the pop-up themes, go to File, and select Page Setup. Here's where you'll change to a custom layout. In this case, I'm just going to choose 8.5 by 11, which is a legal size paper. You could change this to any size that you want, but you might want to consider what you're printing on. Then I'm just going to delete the default boxes, and there I have a fresh page. From there, I'm going to look at inserting text boxes. That's where I've chosen to start. So it's just up at the top. Insert and text box. And from here, I'm going to make a full column. Now you might want to change this as you move on, but gives you a good visual of what a newspaper traditionally looks like. Here you'll type some holder text so you can figure out things like font and spacing. From here, when you select the text box again, we can decide what type of fonts we might want for a newspaper. I've got a lot of fonts installed here. You may not. But one thing you might want to research is what type of fonts do newspapers use? This is an important part of this text type if you're going to use traditional print. Here's a quick article about what the Globe and Mail did when they changed their font. This is research that might be useful for your students as they choose what looks like a newspaper and what's changed over time. Then we can go to Google Fonts. So if you Google Fonts, you'll find out all of the fonts that are available in Google. Sometimes you can do keywords. So in this case, I did news. I found out that there's a news font called News Cycle. I can read about this font, who's developed it, and so on. And then see what it looks like on the page. If I decide I like that font, I simply go back to my document, highlight the text I want to change, scroll down to the bottom, and type Choose Fonts. Here I can scroll and look for fonts, but since I know what I'm looking for, I can just install News Cycle. This will change my font, but it will also make it accessible to me from my drop-down menu of fonts. Here I might decide now that I don't have any text to put, but I can create a copy and create another column. This is sometimes a good strategy when building a template, but you might have to play around with it as you format. Again, I haven't measured my gutter sizes, but I do want to maybe think of what a title might look like and a font for it. I remember from my newspaper days that Impact was the name of a font I liked. So I'm just going to have a look for that. Didn't find it. Oh, there it is. Impact. And I remember liking that one. So I can create a new text box for my title. Text boxes are easier to move around and manipulate. So this is a good place to start. It's going to come in small. I can pick my font. And again, since I already have Impact installed, I can scroll down alphabetically to find the font. And then I can change the size. Again, I usually change the font and then the size, as some fonts are smaller to begin with than others. I also might decide I want to insert a photo. There's many ways you can do this in Google, but just a quick piece is by a search. So this is just a Google search within, and I'll just look for this. Not finding anything I like, but since this is just an example, there's CBC News, add it in. Now one key thing for sizing photos is to pick a corner and come in on an angle. That way you'll maintain the scale of your photo as you move it around. The reason I prefer Google Slides is because you can manipulate your text boxes and photos, and you can't do this as easily in Google Docs. Thanks for watching and hope this helps.